The geopolitical landscape of Europe is undergoing a period of profound transformation. The end of the Cold War brought about hopes for a new era of peace and cooperation. However, the post-Cold War world has been marked by new challenges and uncertainties. Russia's resurgence, the rise of China, and transnational threats have created a more complex security environment. The role of NATO and the future of European security are being fiercely debated. Some argue that NATO remains the cornerstone of European defense, while others believe Europe needs greater strategic autonomy. The future of European security will depend on U.S. foreign policy, European unity, and Russia's relationship with the West. European nations must adapt to new threats and develop a coherent approach to defense. The current security dynamics in Europe cannot be understood without delving into the historical context that shaped them. The Cold War cast a long shadow over European politics and security. The collapse of the Soviet Union created a security vacuum in Eastern Europe. NATO, originally formed against Soviet expansionism, faced an existential crisis. NATO expanded eastward, incorporating former Soviet satellites, which Russia saw as provocative. The OSCE aimed to build trust and cooperation across the continent, but faced limitations. The legacy of the Cold War continues to shape European security perceptions. Russia's actions in Ukraine serve as a stark reminder of potential conflict on the continent. The United States has played a pivotal role in European security since World War II. The North Atlantic Treaty of 1949 committed the U.S. to the security of its European allies. After the Cold War, the U.S. remained committed to European security, participating in peacekeeping operations. The 9/11 attacks marked a turning point, shifting U.S. focus to the Middle East and Central Asia. The Obama administration's pivot to Asia was seen by some as American retrenchment from Europe. The Trump administration's America First approach strained transatlantic relations. The Biden administration seeks to repair transatlantic relations and reaffirm U.S. commitment to NATO. However, domestic pressures urge the U.S. to reduce overseas commitments, including in Europe. The evolving security environment in Europe has sparked a debate about the need for greater European strategic autonomy. Proponents argue Europe must develop its own military capabilities and foreign policy independence. They believe a more assertive Europe would be a valuable partner for the U.S. Skeptics argue that political and military divisions within Europe make strategic autonomy unrealistic. The debate reflects deeper questions about European identity and the future of the European project. Russia's resurgence under President Vladimir Putin has significantly impacted European security. Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and support for separatists in Ukraine shocked Europe. These actions led to international condemnation and sanctions on Russia. Russia's actions have increased defense spending and a focus on territorial defense in Europe. They have also strengthened NATO's eastern flank and catalyzed greater European unity and security. The EU launched the Permanent Structured Cooperation (PESCO) initiative to enhance defense cooperation. Despite efforts, significant challenges remain to achieving a unified European defense posture. NATO, founded in 1949, has transformed since the end of the Cold War. With the Soviet threat gone, NATO expanded to include former Soviet satellites and engaged in out-of-area operations. NATO addresses new threats like cyber attacks, hybrid warfare, and terrorism. The alliance has strengthened cyber defenses and countered disinformation. NATO reaffirmed its commitment to collective defense, especially after Russia's actions in Ukraine. NATO enhanced its presence in Eastern Europe, deploying multinational battle groups as a deterrent. The transatlantic relationship faces unprecedented challenges despite shared values and interests. The Trump administration's America First approach strained transatlantic relations. The Biden administration seeks to repair the relationship and reaffirm U.S. commitment to NATO. However, differences remain on trade, climate change, and multilateralism. The rise of populism and nationalism has further frayed transatlantic ties. A strong transatlantic relationship is essential for addressing global challenges in the 21st century. The rise of China as a global power has profound implications for European security. The U.S. pivot to the Asia-Pacific region has raised concerns among European allies. The U.S. emphasizes its commitment to European security despite the Indo-Pacific pivot. Europe is called to play a greater role in its own security and contribute to regional security in the Asia-Pacific. Some European countries have increased their military presence in the region. The Indo-Pacific pivot presents challenges and opportunities for European security. The world faces interconnected crises, from the conflict in Syria to terrorism in the Sahel. These crises pose significant challenges to European security. The Syrian conflict has led to a massive refugee crisis, straining European societies. The Sahel region has become a breeding ground for terrorist groups threatening European interests. These groups have been responsible for numerous attacks on European targets. Addressing these crises requires a comprehensive and coordinated international response. Europe has a vital role in addressing these challenges through diplomacy and development assistance. The evolving security environment has led to calls for a more integrated European defense. The EU launched the Permanent Structured Cooperation (PESCO) initiative to enhance defense cooperation. PESCO aims to make European defense more efficient and effective. The EU established a European Defence Fund and a Military Planning and Conduct Capability (MPCC). However, challenges remain, including divergent strategic cultures and defense priorities. Despite challenges, the EU's defense initiatives represent a step forward in European defense integration. The world faces a complex security environment with great power competition and transnational threats. A new security architecture is needed based on cooperation, deterrence, and dialogue. Cooperation among states is essential to address shared challenges like terrorism and climate change. Deterrence is vital for preventing aggression and maintaining stability. Dialogue with potential adversaries is crucial to reduce tensions and build trust. A new security architecture should be inclusive, involving states, international organizations, and civil society. It should be adaptable to meet new challenges. Building this architecture requires vision, leadership, and compromise for a more secure world.